robbery attempt at Island Grill restaurant on Red Hills Road. Good evening and thank you so much for joining us for Primetime News on air and online at onespotmedia.com. I'm Raquel Jones. Also this evening, police tried to identify human remains in Priory St. Anne and racetrack residents watch helplessly as house and belongings burn. There's also Saturday's sports special within this newscast, so stay tuned. The news in detail right after this. Welcome back to Primetime News and a special welcome to our viewers on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our OneSpot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot Media. This evening, the police say they are following strong leads after security forces foiled a robbery attempt this morning at Island Grill on Red Hills Road in St. Andrew. Investigators from the Criminal Investigation Branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are trying to find out how the 3 armed men entered the building. Giovanni Dennis has more in this report.
Locksmiths changing the locks at the main entrance door at Island Grill located on Red Hills Mall. This after the doors were breached during the robbery attempt. The police say 3 armed men entered the building through the delivery door at the back. It happened before opening hours sometime before 8 o'clock this morning. Reports are that the men pounced upon the workers and demanded that they open the vault inside the building. It's further reported that an alarm was raised and security guards quickly arrived. The men fled through the delivery door at the back and escaped in a waiting motor vehicle. No one was hurt and nothing was stolen. The restaurant was closed for half the day and several customers turned away. CEO of Island Grill, Thalia Lynn, said traumatized employees on the morning shift were sent home.
We have put in place counselling if they need counselling. The safety of the staff always has to be foremost, and it is our first priority. And you can imagine if you have an attempted armed robbery, how traumatized they would be.
Mrs. Lynn says police remained at the location for the day to reassure staff. She adds that the company's security will be beefed up. Giovanni Dennis, TVJ News.
A skull and other human remains were found in Priory St. Anne this afternoon. The remains were found in a waterway close to the Priory Main Road. The waterway runs throughout the area. The St. Anne police say the bones were washed away from somewhere else by recent rains and currents. The bones have been removed to the morgue for further examination. Police are trying to determine the sex, age and DNA of the deceased. The police say they will be checking the results against their missing persons registry to determine the identity of the individual. A garage operator had to pack up and leave the Western Park community in Clarendon after residents protested this morning. The protest happened after a crash yesterday left a woman dead and her grandchild and a bike rider hurt. Nadine McLeod reports.
The bike rider was heading towards Western Park shortly after 5 o'clock yesterday when the crash happened. It is understood that while traveling, he saw a line of parked vehicles at a garage and swerved to avoid colliding into them. But he ran into an oncoming Mitsubishi motor car. The rider was thrown from the bike, which flipped and hit Dawn Casanova, who was walking with her 2-year-old grandchild.
If she never swung out the baby and shove over the baby, maybe the baby would die. When he collided, he was flung from his motorcycle and into a wall. The motorcycle then collided into 69 years old Louise Casanova, who was walking along with her 2-year-old granddaughter. Both sustained serious injuries, and they were taken to the Maypen Hospital along with the driver of the motorcyclist. She received treatment and she was placed on life support machine briefly. About 11:17 p.m. she was pronounced dead.
The police say speeding was a factor in the crash, but the people say had the garage not been there, the incident would not have happened. They protested and demanded that the operator leave.
We have spoken with the owner and his family, and we have advised him of the information that we have received, and he has agreed to relocate from the area. So we're just awaiting him to gather his belongings so that we can take him to wherever he wants to go.
The operator eventually packed up and left. The child has been released from hospital. The bike rider remains. Nadine McLeod, TVJ News.
A homeowner and neighbors in Racetrack Clarendon stood helplessly and watched a house burn down today. It's not clear what caused the fire. The owner say he saw smoke coming from the ceiling. This woman said it happened suddenly.
Well, when me hear the fire, the smoke, the flame, when me hear the flame and me run out and I say, fire, 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 fire. Me could identify the key. Me could identify the key to pull the grill to come out, but anyway, we run out and help.
The fire started shortly after 11 o'clock this morning. The people say although firefighters were called immediately, they did not arrive until after 1 o'clock. By that time, the damage was extensive.
We call a fire truck and then they can't come even until the house burned down. What do you use to pay taxes for, brother? What do you use to pay taxes for?
Persons were left homeless. A few pieces of furniture and some clothes were saved. Our news team called the Clarendon Fire Division and was told that the person who answered the phone was not on the shift this morning and was unable to answer questions. The Clarendon Police have posted the names of 10 persons of interest and 10 wanted persons on the station's outside wall. The police say the move is to encourage residents to assist in getting these persons in.
We have called them, and of the amount that we called last week, 10 persons turned themselves in. These are outstanding, and we are now advertising them so we can encourage them to come to us. Also, we are encouraging other citizens to view the list of persons and to tell us where we can get them.
The police say 10 persons from the original list of 30 have turned themselves in. The cops say the persons have turned themselves in with the help of their lawyers and relatives and have since been charged. And now news of a developing story involving an incident on Deanery Road in Vineyard Town, St. Andrew. The people say shortly after 4 o'clock today, the police were carrying out an operation in downtown Kingston to clamp down on illegal taxi operators. It's reported that one of the suspected illegal taxi operators tried to elude the cops. The police chased the car from downtown to Deanery Road. It's understood that the police car collided with the illegal taxi at the intersection of Deanery Road and Langards Road. An eyewitness say the police fired at the car, however no one was hurt. The people say the police took the driver from the vehicle and reportedly beat him. And of course we will have more information for you in subsequent newscasts. The St. James Police have stepped up their operations in the parish to clamp down on illegal transport operators and taxi operators who have not removed tints from their vehicles. Since the start of the week, close to 500 tickets have been issued for breaches. TVJ's Herman Green has more.
Police operations in St. James are being carried out in plain sight as well as undercover. So says Head of Police Operations for the parish, Deputy Superintendent Gary Mackenzie, who described this week as a twinning of resources for the town sweep operation.
We have some persons on covert operations. We have our traffic operatives, as well as we have our aggressive operation support units all around. So far, we have been going quite well. We have seized a number of vehicles. We have removed a number of tints in keeping with our drive to actually rid public passenger vehicles of dark tint.
Since Monday, 493 tickets have been issued in the parish for tints. 96 drivers had their tints removed on the spot to avoid being ticketed. DSP Mackenzie says the measures are now rigorously being enforced to create the foundation for more effective policing going forward. The cops are optimistic that a tabled proposal to officially extend the rules governing tints to private motor vehicles will be approved soon.
We will, however, continue our drive to get the windscreens of private motor vehicle free of the obstruction, and for it to be in a manner where the police can make observation, because we are mindful that some of these incidents involve robot taxis for which we are not able to see in these vehicles. But what we will continue to do is our regular stop and search, and we will be guided by the information, intelligence and reports that we would have received.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Manufacturers Association this week gave a glimpse of part of its plan for growth for the year ahead. At a press briefing at its Duke Street offices, President Mitri Siaga dismissed suggestions that the manufacturing industry had no contribution to growth. TVJ's Herman Green has more.
When the Economic Growth Council gave the highlight of their areas for growth, manufacturing was not there.
And that's why the
An
Jamaica
increase of 23,000 jobs, and to grow exports by 20% from 700.
5-in-4 growth plan. As part of the effort, the JMA is to launch a new suppliers directory and search engine, providing overseas investors with details on local manufacturers.
Right now, when investors come to Jamaica and speak about what we have to manufacture and what are we doing in manufacturing, this is going to be a one-stop place that investors can come to, have a book in front of them, have their computer in front of them, and be able to find all manufacturers by category. We think this is going to be very helpful to these investors that are coming to Jamaica and to locals who don't know what we do.
Additional initiatives that will help push the planned growth include partnerships with the local financial institutions to assist the JMA's member organizations.
For those who do not know, we are in partnership with Exim Bank to provide collateral-free loans of up to $1.5 million for SMEs, and we are in partnership with the National Commercial Bank to provide up to $2 billion of loans at concessionary rates. So those who are not members need to become members to be able to garner these opportunities.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
Another group is raising its voice in condemnation of domestic violence in light of its recent spike over the past few months. On Friday, the Jamaica Medical Students Association staged a march from the University of the West Indies Mona campus to Papine in St. Andrew to make their position on the issue known. National Officer for the Association's Standing Committee in Sexual and Reproductive Health, Shamara Roden, says the group decided to march as the issue impacts them in their studies.
As medical professionals, we consider ourselves professionals from a student stage. We don't think that it's okay to just treat persons' bruises and not treat the cause of this problem. It can be prevented, so why not prevent it from now? And we're going to educate Jamaica on what is happening and why we should not make this a 9-day wonder. We need to continually educating persons on what is going on in our country and stop the violence. Stop.
In the meantime, the group says while it stands in agreement with the measures outlined in the government's crime plan, Mr. Roden says it needs more collaborations if it is to be truly successful.
As the Medical Students Association, we believe that we do have a part to play, so we would like to be involved with this. So I think the crime plan is okay. It can be, can make a few changes in terms of incorporating other persons, incorporating young people, get the views of the persons on the streets, get the views of students. What do young people think about this? Is it bothering them? Is it you have a mother, you have a daughter, you have a sister, you have a friend? So we're saying it can work, but there can be some tweaks made to it.
And that's the local segment of Primetime News. International stories, I know.